Hey there, how you doing? It's been a couple of days since I've actually posted in this group. I've actually been traveling extensively throughout Nevada, went to the Grand Canyon, was in Sedona for a few days, and then off to a major live event in Phoenix, Arizona for our agency. And we had about 150 physical therapy practices there where we were educating, sharing, and opening up a door to bringing them on board as clients. And so one of the things that whilst I've been traveling and I finally find myself here in Sail Bay in San Diego, California, is that the idea of knowing an intimate problem and providing a profitable solution. So what I'm talking about here is a lot of people believe like when you're in an agency, you've got your marketing solution that you know that you can help people with, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to create the opportunity or make an offer, say, hey, let's have a discussion. Let's find out what some of your objectives or some of your gaps are, and then let me show you how my idea or my thing can solve your problem. And so this is generally the approach that we take to opening the door to providing or making an offer, and hopefully having a client to invest in our agency services, whether it be graphic design or building a sales funnel or doing lead generation, advertising or promotion or copywriting or email marketing, whatever service you provide, web development or app development, in anything that you provide, we come from this place where we think that we're doing this consultative sales approach by doing a little bit of discovery, then making, in that discovery, hoping that we have enough information and enough clarity about what the client's needs are so that we can then pitch our idea and sell it to them. And so here is where that idea kind of falls apart. If you try and pigeonhole everybody to a cookie cutter solution, having a defined sales process is really important, but being very clear about a business's objectives, their reasoning or their resolve as to why it's important that they solve that problem now, and more importantly, what are the bottlenecks that are holding them back from actually achieving that outcome, and then fitting your solution to solve that problem. The point that I'm trying to make here is the more you understand in an intimate fashion as to what the actual problem is, the easier it is to be able to sell or convert the client based around the way you deliver your solution. So let me give an example. So when we're talking to businesses, oftentimes I find that people just don't ask enough questions. And so my friend Dane Maxwell and Andy Drish, who were the co-founders of the foundation, coined this idea called idea extraction. And now what idea extraction is to ask very detailed drill down questions to see where there is a problem or where there is a challenge, and then to open the door to having an open discussion to ideas or some of the ideas that may be able to solve that problem. And in the concept of idea extraction, what you're doing is you're asking a series of questions, drilling deep, and at the same time you're feeding back the answers, or you're feeding back that question, the responses to those questions, back to the customer, so that they feel that you actually are coming to an understanding, a better understanding of the problem, and also helping them to clarify what the problem is. So in idea extraction, what you're doing is you're delving deep, you're feeding back to the client, and then you're opening the door because you've facilitated this listening. And that's where the real power of idea extraction is in the listening part, not so much the asking of the questions. It's what's coming back and what you feed back to the client. So it allows the prospect or the business owner to clarify in their mind the actual real problem here. And from there, by asking questions that lead to, so what do you think would change that? Like if we gave you a magic wand, or you had all the resources that you needed, what would you do, or what could you do to actually solve that problem, save the money, save the time, get a better result? And so in that, you're going through this process. How you doing, Jamil? Good to see you. You're going through this process of having an intimate exchange, and at the same time you're building actually a very strong relationship, because in that process of idea extraction and asking all those questions, what you're doing is you're really listening. The person is perhaps for the first time being able to voice their ideas, their opinions, what they perceive to be is the problem, and from there you can actually sit down and look at what the options are for a solution. And for example, if your area is in the area of marketing, you can steer the conversation of the idea extraction process to topics around marketing, where their challenges are, what's not working, working, what is working, what's worked in the past, where do they see the opportunity, asking these types of questions. What do they believe is very important or something that must happen, or what is not happening right now? How much money are they investing trying to fix the problem? What do they believe the root cause of the problem is? If they were given the magic wand, what would they do to fix the problem? And so in there, you might, through that conversation, they're also going to ask you questions about what you do and how you do what you do. And so from there, you can devise a strategy. So for example, if you're asking marketing questions around lead generation, saying, hey, what's not worked? What is working? Tell me about your sales process, your conversion process, those types of ideas. So you're walking people through the exchange of helping you to intimately understand the problem. And the idea is that if you can articulate the problem better than they can, then they're more willing to listen to your solutions. It is a very consultative approach. One of my favorite mentors who taught me this many, many years ago, and I still use the strategy today, is to look at the idea of Socratic questioning, where you ask very deep questions. Say, hey, so tell me how that works. What happens when when a client comes to you or inquiring about your service? And then what happens if they don't decide to take the next step? What happens when they do decide to take the next step? What do you believe is the most important thing that they need to be aware of in acquiring or buying your product or service? What does that look like for you? What happens when that doesn't occur? So you're asking these rounded questions to get very, very detailed answers, and more importantly, a much more intimate understanding of the problem. It's one of the biggest things. Most people don't ask enough questions. Most people in the marketing game, the agency game, are too quick and too busy in wanting to share their ideas, their processes, their systems, their best way of generating leads, rather than actually understanding the result that can occur from the work that you do that has an impact on their business in terms of the objective that they want to achieve, the resolve and the idea of how important it is for them to achieve that outcome, and more importantly, what are the roadblocks, what are the things that are stopping them from getting the very thing that they're asking for. And so what you're doing is you're building that intimate relationship with an understanding, and from there you can come back to the client a lot more resourced with better ideas, a better way to present what you do, to show them how you can bridge the gap to where they are now to where they want to be, and ultimately work with you in a long-term relationship, not a short-term relationship, a long-term relationship. Because if they stay with you and you support and you encourage and you provide ideas and you look at ways of improving their outcomes, then that client is going to be with you for many, many years to come. So understand, start looking at the types of questions that you want to be asking, what you want to know about a business, what do they like, what is their opinion, what is the most important thing that they believe must happen, how has customer behavior changed, how has that changed in relation to them making a purchase? What are the behaviors that actually promote a buying behavior? What are those sorts of things? So the more that you are aware, and the beauty of this process is the more businesses that you talk to, the more businesses that you spend the time to ask these types of questions, the better the understanding you may have of a niche market, the better the understanding you'll have of the business in itself and know how you can make an impact. It also turns you into an expert, because the more people you listen to in the market, the better you understand the problem, the more intimately you understand the problem in the market that you solve and how you go about solving that problem or delivering that solution, the much stronger you can actually build your own intellectual property. You can actually build a product or a program, just like we have in our agency, where we deliver a solution that the client gains significant benefit out of by being part of that process or investing in that solution. So understand, the more intimately you know. Look up Socratic questioning on Google. It'll give you an insight into the different ways that you can use questioning techniques to really get to the heart of how things work, what problems really are. Think about extracting the idea by asking the question. So we know exactly what the problem is. What do you think? In your opinion, what do you think? How can we fix this? Travis, good to see you here on the call here. Long time no speak. I hope you've had great travels recently. Missed you in Las Vegas, my friend. And so understand that the more intimate you are in terms of having those questions answered by really diving deep, this gives you a much stronger ability to devise a strategy or a solution that is more suitable to solving that problem. Much more suitable to solving that problem. So Hopefully that gives you a few ideas. If you want some more ideas, tactics, trainings on ways in which you can convert, engage, generate better, higher paying clients for your business, just go to consultingunleashed.com and you'll be able to get some free training there that'll show you how you can scale, how you can engage, and more importantly, how you can bring on clients that'll invest high 5 figures, high 6 figures plus in the marketplace. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.